You know that specific kind of quiet? The one that happens at 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You're sitting right next to them. Your knees are almost touching, but you feel like you're on different planets. You look over, hoping for a glance, a smile, anything, but they don't even look up. And suddenly your stomach drops. That cold, heavy realization hits you in the chest. Why do I feel so lonely when I'm with them? Did I imagine the connection we had 3 months ago? Am I asking for too much? Or am I just not enough? Stop. Breathe. Listen to me closely. The relationship didn't get harder because your love faded. It got harder because your safety disappeared. You aren't drifting apart because you stopped caring. You are drifting because one of you is running and the other is chasing. You are not failing at love. This is not a sign that you chose the wrong person. Every couple that has ever loved deeply has stood exactly where you are standing right now. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to tell the difference between an avoidant partner who is struggling to connect and one who is simply using you for comfort while keeping their heart locked away. You will stop guessing. You will start seeing clearly. Let's get into it. Most couples believe that if their partner pulls away, it's because they need more space to find themselves. They think if they just wait patiently, if they just give enough room, the partner will come back warmer than before. But the real truth is much harder to hear. When an avoidant partner uses you, they aren't looking for space. They are looking for supply. Here is the shift you need to make right now. Your partner's nervous system is reading you before their mind can catch up. To an avoidant who is emotionally unavailable, intimacy feels like engulfment. So they create distance to regulate their own anxiety. But here is the painful part. They still have human needs. They still crave warmth. They still want to feel desired. So they keep you close enough to soothe their loneliness, but far enough away that they never have to be vulnerable. What looks like needing space is often just a strategy to keep you on standby. They want the benefits of a relationship without the cost of emotional exposure. This isn't about compatibility. This is about capacity. And until you understand the difference between someone who is learning to attach and someone who is using your attachment to avoid their own emptiness, you will keep giving pieces of yourself to a black hole. Let's break down the 4 signs that tell you which one you're dealing with. Sign number 1. I call this the convenience clause. Most people in relationships believe that inconsistent communication is just a busy schedule. They tell themselves, he's just stressed at work, or she's just bad at texting. But here is the deeper truth. An avoidant who is using you will only show up when it costs them nothing. They will reach out when they are bored, lonely, or need an ego boost. But the moment you ask for consistency, they vanish. Think about it. Do they only text you after 10 p.m.? Do they only want to hang out when they have no other plans? Does their availability depend entirely on their mood, not your needs? Here is the disconnecting version. You say, I'd love to see you this weekend. Are you free Saturday? They reply 3 days later, hey, sorry, crazy week, maybe next week? But then, on Tuesday night, they text, miss you, come over? Now, look at the connecting version. You say, I'd love to see you this weekend. They reply, Saturday is tight, but I really want to see you. Can we do Sunday morning for coffee? See the difference? One is keeping you on the bench. The other is making a plan. When someone is using you, you are an option, not a priority. Your brain starts to feel like a puzzle you can't solve. Why does he want me now, but not yesterday? But here's what nobody explains. Intermittent reinforcement is addictive. It keeps you hooked because you're always waiting for the high of their attention. And when you realize this, the fog lifts. You stop waiting for the text that never comes on time. You start recognizing that consistency is the bare minimum, not a luxury. That's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like a negotiation into one that feels like a refuge. Sign number 2. The emotional ceiling. Most couples think that deep conversations happen naturally over time. They believe that as trust builds, vulnerability follows. But for an avoidant who is using you, there is a hard limit, a ceiling they will never let you break through. They will share surface-level details, work stress, funny stories, even some past trauma, if it's packaged as a story, not a feeling. But the moment you try to connect with their current emotional experience, they hit the brakes. Here is the psychological truth. Vulnerability requires safety. If they are using you for comfort, they don't want safety. They want distraction. Let's look at a real-life example. Disconnecting version. You say, "I've been feeling really insecure lately when we don't talk for days. It makes me feel like I don't matter to you." They respond, "You're being too sensitive. I'm just busy. Why do you always make everything about feelings?" Their inner monologue is screaming, "If I acknowledge her pain, I have to fix it. And I don't want to fix it. I just want to relax." Connecting version. You say, "I've been feeling insecure lately." They respond, "I hate that you feel that way. I'm sorry I've been distant. I've been overwhelmed. But that's not an excuse to make you feel small. Let's talk about how we can fix this." Do you feel the difference in your body? One shuts you down. The other invites you in. An avoidant who is using you will treat your emotions as a burden. An avoidant who is trying will treat your emotions as a bridge. And here's what changes everything. You don't need to scream to be heard. You just need to notice who is willing to listen when you whisper. That's when your partner stops feeling like a problem to manage and starts feeling like a person to come home to. Sign number 3. The future fog. Most people in relationships assume that talking about the future is scary for everyone. They think, maybe they're just taking it slow. But there is a difference between taking it slow and keeping you in limbo. An avoidant who is using you will actively avoid any language that implies long-term entanglement. They won't say "we" when talking about next month. They won't introduce you to key friends or family. They keep their life compartments sealed. Why? Because integration creates accountability. If you are part of their world, they can't just disappear when things get hard. Here is the pattern. You mention a concert 3 months from now. They change the subject. You talk about moving in together someday. They laugh it off or say, "Let's not ruin what we have by rushing." But here is the part no one talks about. It's not about rushing. It's about exit strategies. Disconnecting. You say, "My sister is having a wedding in December. I'd love for you to come with me." They say, "Oh, wow, that's far out. Let's see how things are going then. I don't like to commit too early." Translation, I need to keep my options open in case I find someone easier. Connecting. They say, December is a while away, but I'd love to meet your family. Let's put a pin in it and check in closer to the date. Translation: I see you in my future, even if we take it step by step. When you are being used, you feel like a secret, like you're hiding in the shadows of their real life. And when you accept this truth, the anxiety stops. You realize you aren't fighting for their commitment. You're fighting for a place in a life they haven't invited you into. That's the shift that turns confusion into clarity. You stop asking, when will they choose me? And start asking, why am I choosing someone who won't choose me? Sign number 4. This is the most painful one. The repair, refusal. Most couples believe that conflict is the enemy. They think healthy relationships don't fight. But the real truth? Conflict is inevitable. Repair is optional. An avoidant who is using you will refuse to repair after a rupture. They will stonewall. They will gaslight. They will act like nothing happened until you pretend it didn't either. Why? Because repair requires empathy. It requires admitting fault. And if they are using you, admitting fault means losing control. Here is the nervous system reality. When you bring up a hurt, their brain registers it as an attack. So, they defend. They deflect. They leave you hanging in the emotional void. Disconnecting, you say, "It really hurt me when you made that joke about my job in front of your friends." They say, "You're crazy. It was a joke. You need to lighten up. I'm not talking about this." Then they go silent for 2 days. You are left apologizing for being hurt. Connecting, you say, "It really hurt me." They say, "I didn't realize it landed that way. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to embarrass you. Can you tell me more about why it felt so bad?" They stay present. They don't run. Not louder conversations, not more compromising, not scheduling a weekly check-in, but 2 people who actually feel safe enough to be honest with each other for the first time in years. If they refuse to repair, they are telling you that their comfort is more important than your connection. And here's what changes everything. You cannot force someone to care. You can only decide how much disrespect you are willing to tolerate. That's when the walls between you start to come down. Not because you broke them, but because you stopped building them alone. Look, recognizing these signs hurts. It feels like grief because you're mourning the potential of what could have been. But this isn't a checklist to punish your partner. It's an invitation to respect yourself. When you internalize this, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing ghosts. You start looking for presence. Your partner will feel the difference before you've even said a word. Because when you stop accepting crumbs, you either starve the dynamic that was using you, or you create the space for something real to grow. These aren't tips for a better relationship. They're the beginning of becoming the kind of partner you always wanted someone to be for you. Real intimacy doesn't start when you find the right person. It starts when you decide to become one. If this resonated with you, if you felt seen in any of these moments, hit that like button. It helps this message reach others who are sitting in that quiet, lonely room right now. And subscribe if you're ready to stop guessing and start understanding the psychology of love. You are worthy of a love that shows up. Not sometimes, but always. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.